Alrighty, so looks like we are up live and streaming. I have to apologize again. I'm getting used to this format and using these different type of tools. This is actually my first time broadcasting to YouTube. Usually I'm broadcasting on Twitch, doing game broadcasts, but figure here now I'm broadcasting on YouTube, so it seems like it might be working a little bit better. Trying to look at the live now event, and I see that it's working. So looks like I am up and running. Trying to go to my stream manager here. So let's talk about what this is going to be about. This is going to be about a whole bunch of different topics, but we're really going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the federal hiring process and how to get into the federal system. We're going to talk about some changes that have just came out to the federal system that is going to have a profound impact on you and your ability to get a federal job. There's some changes that we just heard about that just came up. Definitely want to discuss and sit down and talk to you individuals, talk to everybody about, so you understand what those changes are. So we're going to cover those things and a whole lot more. I want to welcome you guys to Vet Talk. All right. So as we get back into this and we start discussing, again, I am live. I have the ability to kind of fade in and fade out if I need to. That time I needed to fade in and fade out. But let's talk about who I am. So I'm a retired Marine, retired Gunnery Sergeant in the Marine Corps, retired back in 2008 out of California, here in Southern California, out of Miramar, as a matter of fact. And my experience in retirement actually was, I would hope, is the norm, or at least what some could consider the norm. But I had a pretty seamless transition from the military, from the Marine Corps into the private sector. My transition, it really was retired on a Friday and started working on Monday, on that following Monday, for a defense contractor, federal defense contractor. Stayed in that job for about 3 years, and then transitioned over to the federal government in 2011 is really when I transitioned over to the federal government. So excuse me, 3 years at a federal contractor, and now I've been a federal government employee since 2011. In the Marine Corps, I worked in the ordnance field, aviation ordnance field, and kind of did the full gamut of ordnance, logistics management, build up, you name it, I've done it. And then transitioned over when I retired from the Marine Corps, working in ordnance, logistics, operations, management, things of that nature. So it was kind of me moving from something I was familiar with, moving into something that I'm familiar with. So we were able to kind of continue that. Or I was able to continue that, which for me made it a very easy, seamless transition. So I started working for Unit Seal Beach, Navy Munitions Command up at Seal Beach, working as the operations division branch head. Basically, if you could relate it to something in the Marine Corps, then would be related to like a ordnance chief or ordnance officer's position, working at a station weapons, or for the Navy, working at a weapon station. Okay, and if you're familiar with the structure of an NMC, then you understand what it was that I was doing, or what I am doing. Stayed in that for again about 3 years until I got promoted, and now moved. Then I moved down to the division level, which is where I'm at right now, at the division headquarters, working as the operations and resources branch head for Conus West. So that means that I have not just Unit Seal Beach, but all activities on the West Coast that belongs to Navy Munitions Command Conus West that are under my cog right now. And one of the I guess one of the largest responsibilities that I have and my staff have is to ensure that we have the proper people in place, the proper qualified people in place to continue to support the Navy and continue to do the things that we need to do to support operations. And that's part of the reason why I decided to come in and do the broadcast today and try to get this series moving forward. It's just kind of sit back and talk about that transition and things that you may find beneficial, things you may find helpful to kind of get you moving in the right direction as you decide what you plan on doing, post-military once you decide to transition out. It is not by any stretch of the imagination an easy transition. And I don't want to imply that it's an easy transition, but there are things you can do and put in place that can help you with that transition and that could assist you in moving forward. And you can find that job that you're looking for to help you sustain a livelihood that you're used to. So that's some of the things that we're hoping to be able to kind of relay and help you guys out with today also. And again, I apologize if my eyeballs start going from here to here to here. I'm looking at 3 screens and looking at some notes, so kind of bouncing around and looking all over the place. But I would definitely want to get some information out to you. Don't plan on making this a very, very long broadcast tonight because I got off schedule. I missed the opportunity to try to get some people to kind of Skype in and talk about some certain things. So I missed that opportunity also. But as we as I get better with this and get my schedule down a little bit more and kind of understand what's going to go on, I'll definitely try to get those guys in. But the chat function on Facebook, on YouTube is open. So if you guys are going to come in and watch, I do encourage you, if you got questions, drop them down in the chat box, and I'll either try to get you answers now if I know the answer to it, or we'll pull those answers up and we'll get some answers when I respond back to the chat, either here or on Facebook. So in a nutshell, that's who I am, and that's what the objective is for this. Okay, why am I doing this? Well, I think part of it already said why. I have a dire need for qualified ordnance people throughout my activities. The federal government on a whole has a dire need for qualified people when they go out and they post positions and they look for qualified candidates. We're starting to see a trend of applicants that are not either qualifying themselves for positions, or applicants that are just not applying because they don't know how to apply for these positions, or they don't realize that these positions are out there and are available. So part of that is, and you hear a motorcycle in the background, by the way. So part of that is that a lot of applicants don't realize what's out there. And by the way, while I'm sitting there talking about applicants, we're gonna focus on veterans. We're gonna talk about veterans and focus on veterans, but this is applicable to civilians, non-veterans that are also currently in the federal government, working for an organization out there that are looking at trying to move forward, move ahead. There's opportunity out there for those current employees also, definitely within my organization, but within other lateral organizations within the federal government. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. We have a need as an organization for qualified people to go out and get these positions. That's one of the first reasons why. Second reason why I'm doing it is if you know me, if you know who I am, if you knew me in the Marine Corps, then you know that one of the things that I love to do is lecture and talk. They didn't call me Dr. Phil in the Marine Corps for without a reason. And if you've ever stood in one of my Friday briefs, or safety briefs, then you understand, how long these things can stretch out. I won't aim to push and stretch that far out, but I do enjoy helping and putting information out to people and giving people anything that they need as far as information to help them move forward. So this, for me, it's not a burden. I actually enjoy doing it. So hopefully, this is something that will help individuals in the long run. So that's the other reason why I'm doing it. Really, the bottom line is that I want to reach out and help people. I want to pay it back, pay it forward to the individuals that are still serving in uniform, the individuals that are still out there and looking at trying to make that transition. I want to put information out there to maybe help you in making that transition and doing the things you want to do. So, federal jobs. Let's get right into it here. And I got a few topics we're going to talk about, and I'm going to run down them in order here. So, federal jobs, what are they? Well, obviously, federal jobs. If you got if you have a computer, you go on the internet, you can go to www.usajobs.gov, and that will basically show you what's out there for federal hires. So if you look at, and I'm typing here, so I apologize if you hear the banging and beating and banging, but if you go out and you look at usajobs.gov, you can go out there and you can see the different type of jobs that are out there. This is the website right here, www.usajobs.gov. This website is real easy to get to. You make sure when you go here that you go up top and you sign in, get yourself a user account. If you don't already have one, if you have one, then you sign in and literally you start searching for jobs. If you know the job name, or if you know the job skill that you're looking for, or the agency that you're looking for, you can search for by keywords. You just go in and punch a keyword in, and you can find a job. If you know the city, state, and zip code or country that you're looking for, you can go in and punch city, state, and zip code. It is difficult, I will admit, when you use the search engine. It is not too intuitive. It'll pull up a whole bunch of different types of applications and stuff, and I can show you a couple here. If we go to, I'll just put in, where I work at. I'll put in Seal Beach, California, and again, I'm sorry about the pounding and banging you heard. And we'll do that search there, and you'll see it's going to pull up a whole bunch of different things. All right, now this is one of the areas where I wanted to talk to you about. The very first thing as you come in, you start searching for jobs, and when you see me post on Facebook, or you see me post, through Instagram or through LinkedIn or whatever site you see me posting, this is the first area I want to talk to you about here. Most of the positions that you're going to see me post about are positions that are what's called, merit positions, or open to federal employees, VEOA, VRA. In order to see those positions, when you go to your search, you need to make sure you come over here to the left-hand side of the screen and change your little ticker here to federal employees. All right. When you do that, what it's going to pull up is you see it pulled up a different list of job announcements when you clicked on federal employee. All right. Other than when you click on open to the public. Open to the public will show you every job that's what we call delegated examiner, or DE. DE positions are open to anybody, civilian or military, that are looking for jobs. The difference between a DE and a merit-based certificate for USA, and those are pretty only two I'm going to talk about right now. The difference between the two is that the ones that are open to the federal government, vet preference supply. So again, I'm going to punch in Seal Beach, California again one more time, and I'm going to pull these back up, open to the federal public here. And you'll see it. You'll know what you're in if you look over here and it says who may apply. Who may apply is going to say United States citizens. That's a delegated examiner cert. That means that it's open to everybody. Vet preference apply for these positions, meaning that if you're a veteran and if you qualify as a 5-point, 10-point, veteran, then the selection managers, as they go in, if you qualify and if you make that selection manager's certificate, excuse me, then that means that the veterans will qualify first, and then non-veterans will, or people that don't qualify for vet preference, will qualify at the bottom of the list. So veterans will get preference on these positions. Okay, a merit cert. If you look at one of those, and I'll go and I'll type in, well, they got one right here. As a matter of fact, I won't have to do it. When it says who may apply, it's going to tell you what level of application source they have for that, whether it be restricted to the agency that's selecting for the job, restricted to the Department of Navy, DOD. You look at this one here, it says who may apply: current, permanent, DON, civilian employees assigned to NAVFAC, and wherever this place is. So they restricted this particular type of cert to the organization itself. You have to be assigned to NAVFAC in order to apply for that position. Okay, but let me go to another again. I'm gonna go to Seal Beach again because that's what we keep on focusing and talking about. Okay, and I pulled up federal employees, and I'll scroll down, and you'll see here's another one. That's actually the same one there. All right, let's change the radius to 5 miles. Okay, so a lot of these are NAVFAC anyway, and I'm trying to see if I see another one. Okay, here's one here, and actually this is one, by the way, if you saw me post this on Facebook, I posted this on Facebook yesterday, or day before yesterday actually. This is hiring in our financial branch in the headquarters. So let's talk about this one. Let's look at this one. I'll click on this one and pull it up for you. Okay, so this is a financial management analyst. You'll notice that this position is open to who may apply: current, permanent, competitive service civilian federal employees within the Department of Navy, reinstatement eligible individuals with the following special appointment authorities. So it talks about Veteran Employment Opportunity Act, VEOA, ICTAP. So if you're a veteran, if you have veteran employment opportunity eligibility, means that you have 5-point, 10-point preference. Even though this is open to current, permanent federal employees, veterans also are able to apply for these positions here. Okay, so when you find a position that you're looking for, the two things you need to make sure you instantly do or remember is save the job announcement, or save what you're looking for. Make sure you remember the job announcement number here. That job announcement number is going to be how you correspond, or how you're going to be corresponded with back and forth. So it's important to remember that. Okay. Other things to look at here on this position, this particular position here, one vacancy. So that means that there's one position open. The job is at Seal Beach, California, full-time permanent job. This announcement opened this past week, Wednesday. This announcement will close on the 10th, Tuesday, midnight on the 10th. Excuse me, midnight on the 10th. If you have not submitted your application, then you won't. At that point, you won't be considered. You've missed the cutoff. So it's better not to wait until the last minute. It's better to go in and apply as soon as possible. Okay. When you go in and you start applying for these jobs, one thing I want to make sure I really stress to you is don't take a resume. And we're going to talk about resumes a little bit later on in this. But don't take a resume, a generic resume that you've used to apply for some other job, and try to apply for a skill-specific job. That is and again, I'm going to get more into resumes here in a little bit, but that is one of the killers that I've seen with veterans, and what they've been doing is that they take one resume and try to use that resume to apply for a multitude of different jobs. That will kill you as far as your opportunities out there to get a job. You need to take time, read the announcement, and target your resumes to the job that you're applying for. Research what the job is. Research what the organization is, who the organization is, and what they're doing. Here's the beautiful thing about USA Jobs. All right, and I'm gonna go back to this announcement here in just a quick second. The beautiful thing about USA Jobs is that all the information you need to find out if you're qualified for that job is on the website. Okay. Prior to you applying for a job on USA Jobs, one of the first things you should do, and this is a recommendation that I tell everybody, is Yeah, pay attention to what the salary range is. Pay attention to what the scale is and the promotion potential. This basically tell you that it's a GS9. It's not promoting any promotion potential but a 9. But you can step up. The max step range you'll get at about 71,000. That is for the LA locality, by the way. All right. And then it gives you a basic summary of what the job is. Okay. This first paragraph is pretty much a canned paragraph. You'll see that on every job announcement, and it'll read almost the same. Second paragraph kind of gives you a broad stroke of where the position is, and it tells you that's a financial analyst, and it gives you some limited information on the duties. Okay, that's basic. That'll give you a little bit. But what's the qualifiers? What do you need to know to qualify for this job? Well, as you read through USA Jobs in this application, I really strongly encourage you again to read everything. The duties, travel requirements, relocation, job requirements. You get down here to the qualifications. It tells you what your resume should demonstrate. Here it tells you that in order to qualify for the position, your resumes must provide sufficient experience and education, knowledge, skills, and abilities to perform the duties of the specific position for which you're being considered. All right. Basically, your resume have to target that you have this specific experience for a financial management analyst. Okay. Your resume must demonstrate at least 1 year of specialized experience equivalent to the next lower grade in the federal service or equivalent experience in the private or public sector providing financial management assistance and formulation, yada, 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 yada. It tells you right there what your resume, how your resume must be formatted, the information, the content that you need in your resume to qualify for this job. You must follow this. If you don't have that information in your resume, even if you know the job, if you put on your resume that you're a financial management analyst, but you haven't put the information in to demonstrate the time and the experience that you have, your resume is not going to get pulled. Your resume won't get pulled. I have seen it. I have been stressed about it. I have been angry about it. I have talked about it. And there's nothing you can do. If you don't put the information in your resume that they are looking for, if you just put in there that you worked at, DFAS, but you don't put any information in about what you did at DFAS as it relates to this, your resume will not get pulled. And it's not the hiring manager, ladies and gentlemen. It's not me sitting waiting for the cert that's making that determination. That's OCHR. That's OCHR. There is nothing that I can do. I have to sit back and wait for that position or that cert to come to me, and I look at it for qualified candidates. There's nothing I can do. What I have in front of me is what I have in front of me. If you have applied for positions in the past and you know that you qualified, but you didn't make the cert, you're going to get notified. And there's some things that I'm going to hopefully talk to you here about, and we'll cover that maybe will help you as you move forward and help you with getting yourself on a cert, honestly getting yourself on a cert. Okay. So let's go back to this again. Again, as I say, your resume has to have this information. Talks about education. Okay. Okay, and it tells you here, education may be substituted for specialized experience. Okay, you can if you don't have the experience, doing the specific job. Oh, that's a tough word to say. If you don't have the experience doing a specific job, education can be substituted for that. I'll say that one more time. If you don't have the specialized experience doing a specific job, education may be substituted for specialized experience. What does that tell you? Education may be substituted for specialized experience. We're looking for specialized experience more than I'm looking for a degree or certification. Now, let me let me say that one more time, and let me put the camera back on me so you hear what I'm telling you, so people don't start freaking out. For specific jobs, for specific organizations, we're looking for people that can come in and do the job. We need you to come in and have a really, really short learning curve in order to get in and start performing the function that we're hiring for. That is critical. That is critical. So it's great. It's fabulous that you have a master's degree or a bachelor's degree, or a PhD. That's great. By no stretch of the imagination. And you can and will get hired solely based on that. So I don't want to discount education by no stretch of the imagination. Go out and get your education, vets. Absolutely. Go out and get at least a bachelor's degree. It's so easy to do, while you're in, or post-military. It's so easy to do it. Okay, so I will never ever discourage you from doing that. But don't let me get sidetracked. Education may be substituted for specialized experience is a key phrase because the federal government, we move at a pace where we have to have people to come in and do the job. We have and as time goes by, we get older, we're starting to see a high attrition rate, especially in the operational workforce. And let me make it clear, everything that I'm going to talk about, over the course of the series, when I start talking about federal hire, is within the operational workforce. All right, in Navy Munitions Command, Conus West, we support the operator, we support the warfighter. All right, so everything we're talking about is operations here, across the board. We need specialized experience. We need people who know how to come in and know how to run and do inventory management. We need people to come in and know OIS, Ordnance Information System. We need people to know how to do, inventory or weapons assembly or disassembly or issue or delivery, ordnance handling experience. We need experience. If you have a degree, that's great, but we need people that can perform the function. So when we go back and we start talking about this financial management analyst position, and I know the manager that's hiring for this, it's critical for that manager to get a person in that position that knows how to do the job. Now, this is a GS9 position that's being hired for, and that manager, can allow a little bit of levity in how much knowledge and experience that the individual have. But because there are some really skill specific things in that job. When I say skill specific, I mean specific to a person with a financial management background, that might be common. But there are some directly related experiences that are tied directly to NMC and that manager's branch that nobody will know because nobody works there. So there will be some training there. Okay. I got hung up on that part simply because of this. Completion of a master's or equivalent graduate degree. Completion of 2 full years of progressively higher level education leading to a master's degree. For some reason, some vets seem to think that the GS level is tied to a specific degree. That's true for some key jobs. If you're going into a technical job, engineering within the federal government, if you're going into a scientific job in the federal government, doctors, scientists, research developers or whatever, then absolutely, your degree and your background, you must have both. Now, I don't work in any of those fields, so I can't speak firsthand knowledge of that, but I can tell you from the operations side that the jobs that we have tied into the operations job, from the wage grade 5 all the way up to the GS 12, GS 13 positions, are not necessarily tied to a degree. So if you don't have your bachelor's degree and you're coming on and you're looking in USA Jobs and you're looking at trying to pick up a job and you see, oh, this position's for GS-12, I'm not going to apply. You just disqualified yourself from a position that you were probably qualified for. If you see a GS-13 position out there that's looking for a specific skill set, and because you don't have a degree, you don't apply for it, then you're potentially leaving yourself out of the competitive selection process. Those jobs are not particularly tied to having that specific degree. Again, the caveat is you still need to go out and get a degree, but specialized experience and skills. When you look at the jobs we have within NMC, and I'll speak to NMC, the jobs we have within NMC that are at the GS-11, GS-12 positions typically are analysts, program analysts, are inventory management positions, or supervisory management positions. Okay, direct related skills and experience is critical and key for that, and that's what they're looking for. Okay, so again, I want to stress to you that the education is important, but don't disqualify yourself because you don't have a degree. Read the application in its entirety, or the announcement, in its entirety, to determine if you are qualified for the position or not qualified for the position based on your education and what degree you have. Don't refuse to apply for a job, or don't take yourself out of consideration for a position just because you think you need a degree and you actually don't. Okay, so all right, so I want to get that out there and just kind of let you guys know that. Okay, so as we continue to talk about USA Jobs and talk about the federal jobs and where to go and what's available out there, we kind of jumped into my next topic, and that's how to apply. Again, I showed you how to go to the website. I showed you the link to it, and again, you can pull that up in the video. Just take the video back. I'll make sure I post that in the video for you. If you don't have a resume uploaded to USA Jobs, then I encourage you to upload a resume to USA Jobs, and we'll talk about the process of hiring in a little bit. I talked about the assessment questionnaire for specific jobs and information that you can gain from USA Jobs when you go on and you apply for these jobs. So again, I'll go back to, and we'll cover again, when you go on USA Jobs and you go down, there's something called an assessment questionnaire, a self-assessment questionnaire. Okay, so what is this questionnaire? Well, I'm gonna get to it right now and pull it up for you. Give me just a second here. So we look down here in this link. As a part of this application process, you must complete and submit an occupational questionnaire. Okay, this questionnaire, ladies and gents, is how you are graded, or how you're ranked and stacked as far as qualification for this position. Okay, so when I click on a questionnaire, and I'll pull this thing up here, and I know it's kind of small, but I'll make it kind of big here for you. Now, by the way, notice that I didn't log into my USA Jobs account. I didn't log into my account here. I just clicked on USA Jobs and clicked on search and pull this up. You don't have to log into your account to pull this information up. You can pull this information up, just by going to USA Jobs. It's open to the public. You can pull this up just by going to the public, going to the website, open it up, and boom, there it is. Okay. All you got to do is read to find out if you're qualified for a position. You know what your qualification and skill sets are. You know what your abilities are. So I'm going to speak to you for a quick minute, not just as a person putting information out to you. And now I'm going to speak to you in my other hat, as a hiring official, as a hiring manager. Nothing frustrates me more when I'm going through certs and I have 15, 20, 30, 50 people who apply for a job. Nothing frustrates me more than to go to the questionnaire, which is the first thing I pull up. I don't look at the person's resume first off the bat. First thing I do when I pull the certificate is I go in and I print everybody's questionnaire out. First thing I do. I come down and I look at how the individual has answered the questions. And I take the individual's questionnaire and I lay it right next to the individual's resume. I'll say that one more time. I'll take the questionnaire and I'll lay it side by side to the individual's resume. And as I go down that list, I look how this individual answered his self-assessment question or her self-assessment questionnaire. Whether they said they're E on everything, D on everything, whatever. And then I look at the resume to try to find that relevant experience. Because if you answer the questionnaire and you say you have that relevant experience, I should be able to find it in the resume. And it should be reflected. Nothing frustrates me more than to find an application where I have a questionnaire that says they're experts in everything and the resume has zero related experience. It's a waste of time. And I have seen it across the board. And ladies and gents, I'm not talking about, young E3s, E4s applying for jobs doing this. I'm talking senior military members, senior enlisted and senior officers across the entire spectrum that do this. Why they do it is almost understandable, but it doesn't make it right. And I'll explain that to you, and that's something that the system got to fix. Okay? When you go through and look at this questionnaire, some of the first questions you're going to see is, are you current DOD or DON employed? Yada, yada, yada. Read the question, okay? If you are current Department of Navy civilian employee, then you'll select yes. If you're an active duty service member, you're going to select yes. If you're not an active duty service member, if you're retired and you are VEOA eligible, and there's a link here that tells you exactly what that means. It tells you exactly what a VEOA eligible vet is. If you're not sure, you can click on it. Again, basically, if you're a 5-point, 10-point disabled veteran, you're VEOA eligible. All right. But there's some other things in there it talks about, and you can click on that and go into it and find that out. And one of the friends of mine that I was hoping to get on today, his name is Dean. He works in San Diego. He's been working with federal government, working in the transition assistance program for in excess of about 11 years. And I will get him on. I promise to get him on here. He's volunteered to come on and talk to you. I will get him on here to allow him to come in and talk to you about these different programs and eligibility requirements for programs. Also, I talked to my N1 staff, at my office, and I'm gonna pull my N1 in, maybe on my next subsequent stream, and get them to come and talk to you about some things, to put some information out there to you. Okay. So, but anyway, if your VEOA is gonna ask you to select yes. If you're reinstatement eligible, that's for former federal employees, you'll select yes. If you're an annuitant, if you're ICTAP, it tells you which each one of those are. If you're PPP military spouse, PPP military spouse is Priority Placement Program military spouse preference. If you are a active duty service member that have a spouse that's potentially can qualify for this, you need to go and research that and see what that's about. Okay, I'm not going to tell you a whole bunch about it because I'm not too versed in it. I have people that can come in, but I will tell you this: if you're a military member and your spouse is working in the federal government and you get relocated to a different state because you got orders, then there's an opportunity for your spouse to be placed on a priority program to get another job when she moves from one state to another. Okay. And there may be some other eligibility requirements that I just don't know about, so I'm not going to go too much in detail with that. But anyway, that's the first few questions that it asks. Then it's going to go through the minimum qualifications, all right, and then it's going to ask you, do you meet the minimum qualifications for the job? All right, you're going to answer, yes, you have specialized experience, all the way down to F. I do not have any experience or education as described above. Okay. You'll be able to select, click on a little dial or selector button as you go through the actual application process itself. Okay, but you can print this out prior to you applying for the job and go in and read these questions and stuff. Okay, and then we get to the meat of it. We get to the meat where we see what your abilities are. Okay, and where we look and see if you have the skill set. And this is the part I told you before that gets frustrating. So this one's particularly here. It asks a simple question. Do you have a current financial management certification at the level 1 in accordance with yada, yada, yada? Yes or no? No, but I am willing to obtain certification. Don't lie. If you don't have it, you don't have it, but you're willing to get it. Okay? I mean, that's cut and dry. I mean, obviously, there's nothing you could lie about that. Okay? I have seen applications come through, not for financial management positions, but for, say, crane operator, or Class A driver. And it asks the question, do you currently have a state Class A driver's license, or do you currently have a state certified crane operator's license? Yes or no? And I've seen people circle yes, which qualifies you for the job. But then when you come in and pull the resume, they don't have it reflected in the resume. Okay, maybe an oversight. Then you call to do the interview and you ask the question, they don't have one. But they put yes on here. I end the interview and cordial and respectful, and take that resume and application, ball up, throw in the trash can. Be honest and have integrity when you apply for these jobs. Financial management definitions here. So we go through this, and now they're giving you the scale A through E on how they're looking for you to answer the next series of questions. Okay, and it's give you the definition of the position of the job and task related to that job. Okay, and then it gives you the scale. A, I have not had education, training, or experience. B, I have had education, training, performed this task, but have not yet performed it. C, I have performed this task on a job. My work on this task was closely monitored by a supervisor or senior employee. D, I have performed this task as a regular part of the job, independently and normally without review by a supervisor or senior employee, so progressively more experience there, right? E, I am considered an expert in performing this task. I have supervised performance of this task, or I am normally the person who is consulted by others to assist them in doing this task. E means you are it. You are the man or the woman. You know how to do this job. You're it. If you answer E, your resume has to reflect that. Your resume has to show that you are considered an expert. You have to. Because here's the deal. And by the way, this is not a reflection on anybody in OCHR. So I want to put that caveat out there right now. If there's anybody who's going to watch this stream or who's listening and you're from OCHR or you work in OCHR, don't take offense to it, because I'm not painting a broad stroke across everybody in OCHR. Okay? But I've seen it. A lot. What I'm about to tell you. And it's frustrating. And it's one of the reasons why people do answer this questionnaire the way they answer it. More times than not, you go down in this questionnaire, you answer E on everything. You're going to be the best qualified. you're going to make the best qualified list. You answer E on here, irregardless or regardless of what you put in your resume, for the most part, you answer E on here, you're going to make the cert. You're going to make the cert. And that's when I get frustrated. That's when hiring managers get frustrated, because they see you answered E. I can tell you, they go back and they pull your resume and they look, and they don't see the information reflected in your resume. You just wasted 20, 30 minutes of time that we really don't have trying to figure out. And by the way, for the person that did answer honestly and maybe didn't answer E, or maybe that person answered C, I have performed this task on a job. My work on this task was monitored closely by a supervisor. You know, for that individual that answered C or maybe answered D, that individual was rated lower than the person who answered all E's. So now, knowing that, I've just lost a potential candidate that was more than qualified to do the job, that could have came in and performed the function, but because someone else answered all E's and was dishonest, or they just answered all E's and didn't reflect it in their resume, I got to go through a whole nother process to try to get a new list if I can't find qualified candidates. It is so important for you to make sure your resumes reflect your skills and experience. I really can't say that enough. Okay. So let's go ahead and go back down through the rest of this, because I know I'm spending a lot of time on this. But anyway, so this particular one here is going to ask, it tells you A, B, C, D, or E, and then it asks you specific job functions. Evaluate budget request controls and reporting of obligation and expenditures. Run daily, weekly, monthly reports for program oversight. Then it has this beautiful bullet here. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. All right. It says, can you read that? If you selected responses D or E, please provide information to support your response. Indicate where the relevant experience can be found in your resume. Example, dates and titles of positions. This resume is limited to 500 characters. Or this response, is limited to 500 characters. You're going to be given the opportunity on this questionnaire to respond if you select D or E. All you got to do really is just put down, this relevant experience is reflected in my job working at Umpty Frump on Umpty Frump date. That's it. Because then I can go back to that job title on that date and look and see if that information is reflected there. Makes it simple, right? You think it's simple. People don't do that. I've seen it where individuals will put down a point or a place, or this information is reflected in my resume, my experience as a ordinance manager. Okay, great. And then I go and look in the resume and nothing is there. There's nothing reflecting that experience. Make sure, again, if you put D or E, please read. Make sure you put that information in the cert and then go back in your resume and make sure it's reflected in your resume. You will get disqualified from the application or from the certificate if you don't follow these rules. You will get disqualified. Okay, so I want to make that clear. You must follow this process here. Okay, so again, as we go down through, so this particular one here gives you all the different job functions, specific duties. A little bit of insider secret here, ladies and gents. Everything you see on this questionnaire, as far as the different sections, and those are the duties of the job. Those are the duties of the job. When you look at what's going on here, research guides to locate accounting, budgetary, or financial information, that is not a generalized statement. That is a literal duty of the position that you will be performing probably on week 1 or week 2 once you get your CAT card and get rolled in. Okay. So again, it's imperative for you as you go in and you start looking at applying for these jobs to get that questionnaire printed out. Take that questionnaire and bounce it off your resume and make sure your resume reflects what you answer on that questionnaire. Be honest. Okay. If you don't qualify for the position, then you just don't qualify for the position. There are enough jobs out there on USA Jobs where you will find something you'll qualify for. Okay. If you see something, I mentioned before that some of the GS11 positions at NMC or within NMC are program analysts. That's kind of a broad stroke, right? Well, you're like, program analyst for what? Well, guess what? If you pull up the questionnaire, the assessment questionnaire, it'll pretty much tell you exactly what that job function is. So program analyst, in one sense, could really mean inventory accuracy officer, or program analyst, in one sense, could literally mean, inventory management or lean process manager. You have to look at the questionnaire and figure out what that job is, and that'll give you the information that you need. Specific information that you need. I mean, I can't say that word for save my life. Specific information that you need to know what the job is. Okay, so I got stuck on that federal jobs and what it is and how to apply for a bit. I'm not going to get into the resumes now because I've already been broadcasting for almost an hour, and that's longer than I intended to, because I got stuck on the apply for federal jobs and USA Jobs and stuff. But what I will do is this. I'll real quick, I'll show you something that I wrote a few years ago, and talk to you real quick about what's in this, and how this may or could be applicable to how this could be applicable to you. I'm trying to pull it up right now on my computer, so give me a quick second. There we go. Okay, I was trying to go full screen here. See if I can get it to zoom. All right. And holy cow. Okay, so let's take a look at this real quick. So, and I'll post this, I'll share this out there. I'll put it on Facebook. I shared it out with so many people before. It needs to be updated because I originally wrote this, God almighty, I want to say 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. I wrote this, okay? But it's called Tips for Veterans Writing That Civilian Resume. I wrote this and I put it out. I think it's on Facebook. It needs to be updated with some links. Some of the links I have in it are old. But just kind of, I'm gonna cover some of the major bullet points here, and then show you a literal description of some of the resumes that I've seen. Okay. I told you I got pet peeves, right? And I think as if you've ever dealt with, trying to select and hire somebody, you're going to find your own. And you can see that very first thing I have up there. Make sure you capitalize your name. If I look at a resume, most of the time, 90% of the time, what's the first thing you put at the very top of your resume? You put your name, your telephone number, your address, your email. You put all this stuff at the top, right? If you don't capitalize your name, or the city and state that you live in, or the street that you live on, what does that really say about you? If you are applying for, let's say, a management position within the federal government, say you're applying for a job as a logistics manager or operations manager, and you submit a resume and you don't capitalize your name, what do you think that says about you? Put yourself in the position of the hiring manager who has a critical need to find someone to come in and lead his organization. You have to write reports, submit reports. You're reporting to senior officers and senior civilians, and you can't capitalize your name. What does that say? Lacks written mechanical skills. It could say a lot. It could say, and you can read this and kind of get some ideas. Again, I won't go through it. Capitalize your resume. Pass that on to anybody that you know. Capitalize your names. Use proper punctuation in your resume. Use spell check. That's a beautiful thing. Okay. I'm not going to talk too much about translating your military experience to equivalent civilian experience now, because that's a long topic. But those are the things that you really want to focus on. And again, I use some ordnance acronyms here. If you use the word JDAM or MOS or MAPMAP or whatever, people are not going to know. Typically, people are not going to know what that is. Especially again, not picking on your OCHR, but especially OCHR. I'll tell you a story about that. Had a young former Marine who I talked to before I actually talked to him right after he separated from the Marine Corps. He managed to get a job at Seal Beach working as an inventory manager. Then he, in the progressive things, he started applying for jobs and looking for opportunity to promote and excel. And in his resume, he wrote the words in one of his positions, Miles 11, ordnance, ASRS chief, yada, 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 yada. Applying for an inventory management position. He was found not qualified. The reason he was found not qualified is because his resume didn't reflect anywhere where he worked in any position for inventory management. Now, for those of you out there who work in ordnance and who understand what ASRS is, ammunition stock and recording section, or for the Navy, AD&C, ammunition distribution and control, what do you do in ASRS or AD&C? Inventory management, right? Well, OCHR, they don't know that. A lot of the technicians that work at OCHR, if they were veterans, they didn't work in ordnance, so they don't know that. If they were veterans, more than not, you're probably going to run across some that were not veterans. You would think that maybe you got someone that's been in long enough to understand, but it's a broad stroke. Okay, so translate your military equivalent experience to civilian equivalent experience. Don't just put ASRS, assuming that everybody knows what ASRS is or AD&C or acronyms. Spell the acronym out. And then you can use it later on in your resume if you want to, but spell the acronym out, okay? Other thing I want to cover real quick, and then we're going to end this, I promise. I won't cover about the hour. We'll talk about that. I told you before to use spell check. Please use spell check, okay? Now, this is from a long time ago again, but and to not embarrass anybody, this is a resume that this is not a veteran, by the way, but this is a resume that I had that I pulled actually on one of my certificates for a job, and this is literally how I received this resume, minus again the name and all the other stuff. Okay. So every word that I highlighted, all the words in the resume. Okay. Now, if it's one or two, I'm not gonna freak out about it. Permanent. Okay, I'll take that mistake. But when I start looking at and permanent, opportunity, qualifications, clearance, certification, and on. Look at this. Look at this. I did not make this up. This is a resume that was sent to me. All right. Individual hunting for a job. Okay. For that, all I do is take it, ball it, and put it in the trash can. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Basic writing skills, essential for a job. Essential for a job in this day and age in technology. Okay. So we'll go more and more into the resume. I put this thing on here that the resume is a living, breathing document. You have to feed it. Basically what that means is that you're always going to be gaining experience and knowledge. You should always update your resume. There should be never a time that you are not updating your resume. Keep a master and pull from that master and build a targeted resume for specific jobs that you're hiring or that you're applying for, and continue to build that resume as you move forward. So that's going to end our first vet talk session. I'm shocked that I was able to go an hour. I told you guys I can talk. So that's going to end our first vet talk session. I promise that we're going to get better at it, get a little bit more efficient, get more time in with some experts, some true experts on these processes, and get that out to you. I do appreciate you guys watching. I hope that this helps. If you have questions, again, drop me a chat or drop me an email or drop me a link. A PM, and I'll try to get answers to your questions. There are jobs out there right now that we are actively trying to hire for. So if you're interested, if you're looking, if you qualified for them, apply for them. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your service out there. If you have questions, enjoy it. Go Pittsburgh Steelers. I know we got this game tomorrow. See you guys. Peace out.